A warm welcome to all the dear aspirants to yet another session on the most important personalities from modern Indian history. In this video, we are predominantly going to be dealing with the leaders of the tribal movement. The tribal movement and the Indian freedom movement were running parallel to each other, and at one point of time, they merged with one another. And that's what we are going to be looking at in this particular video. But before that, we have to discuss a couple of personalities who played a very important role in the revolt of 1857. So we are not going to be wasting any further time with introductions. We are going to get our act together and start directly by discussing the first personality, who is Maulana Ahmedullah Shah. Okay, we're going to first discuss Maulana Ahmedullah Shah. So who is this Maulana Ahmedullah Shah? He was a very important personality with regard to the revolt of 1857. Okay, and talking about his background, he came from a background which had Islamic scholars. I'm talking about his family. Okay, he came from a family which had great Islamic scholars, and he was also someone who was well versed in both Arabic as well as Persian. Okay, and he was a great orator. So he was known for his fiery speeches, and he had it in him the ability to inspire people through his speeches. And not only that, he was also a skilled military strategist. In fact, he had trained many soldiers in the art of warfare. So what was his contribution in the revolt of 1857, for which we have to remember him till today? In that vein, in May of 1857, he led a group of rebels to capture the city of Shahjahanpur. And this person was also responsible for the capture of the city of Bareilly in June 1857. So he had a popular name. People referred to him as Danka Shah. Okay, D-A-N-K-A Shah, Danka Shah. Why? Because of the sound of the drum that was played before his speeches. Okay, for that only he was known as Danka Shah. Okay, in July of 1857, he was arrested and jailed in Faizabad. Okay, so because of the pressure exerted by his followers, he was subsequently released. And when he was released, he was elected by the mutinous 22nd Native Infantry as their leader. And we also have to remember him for fighting in the famous battle of Sinhat. Remember the battle Sinhat. Okay, so this battle of Sinhat took place in July of 1857. Okay, so during this battle, what happened was the rebels under the leadership of Maulavi Ahmedullah Shah were able to defeat the British forces. Okay, so Maulavi Ahmedullah Shah was one of those few leaders who were able to defeat the British when in July of 1857 in the Battle of Chinhat. Okay, so this person also played a very important role in the siege of Lucknow. The siege of Lucknow lasted from June to November of 1857. Okay, but after all these exploits, he was eventually captured by the British forces in 1858. He was tried and he was sentenced to death for his role in the rebellion. And finally, he was executed in 1858 in Faizabad. Okay, so he was a very key figure, very important figure in the rebellion of 1857, a military strategist, charismatic leader, and he is remembered and celebrated by many for his exploits during the revolt. So this is the first personality we have to look at. The second one we are going to look at is Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. Okay, so who was this Nawab Wajid Ali Shah? This Nawab Wajid Ali Shah was the last king of Awadh. Okay, so he was the last king of Awadh, and if you see, Awadh was a significant region known for its gardens, granary, and it was considered a queen province of India. Okay, so he ruled for 9 years. Okay, after ruling for 9 years, Awadh was annexed by the East India Company in 1856, and it was made a buffer state. You know the story behind annexation of Awadh. It was annexed based on the doctrine of lapse. Okay, and if you see, no, Awadh was basically annexed on the pretext of misgovernance. Okay, by Nawab Wajid Ali Shah. So after the annexation of Awadh, Wajid Ali Shah was exiled to Garden Reach in Metia Bruce and was provided with a pension. Okay, so what are the things that we'll remember him for till from the point of view of examination? This person was an excellent connoisseur of art, and he patronized artists in various forms, including dance, music, theatre, and poetry. So Nawab Wajid Ali Shah also encouraged a lot of poets. Okay, not only that, he introduced Kathak as a court dance, and he provided guidance and financial assistance to promote it. And then he patronized light classical form of Tumri music, and various musical compositions were composed during his period. Okay, and he encouraged and supported various ragas, and he established Parikana. What is this Parikana? Parikana was a place to teach music and dance to talented girls. Okay, not only that, he promoted Hindustani theatre by staging Ras Leela. Okay, so some consider him to be the first playwright of Hindustani theatre. That was an added feather on his cap. So he used the pen name of Kaisar for his poetry. Okay, Qaisar. That was his pen name. Okay, so for his poetry he used that pen name, and he also patronized the famous poet Mirza Ghalib. Okay, so some of the other key points about Nawab Wajid Ali Shah are given on the Optima cards that you find on the screen. Okay, so with that said, we are now moving on to the next personality. The next personality is the tribal leader Birsa Munda. Okay, so who is this Birsa Munda? So Birsa Munda is today a folk hero and a tribal freedom fighter from the Munda tribe. Okay, today even they are making a movie on Birsa Munda. Okay, so he led a tribal march movement against British in Bihar and Jharkhand. Okay, so what was this movement for? This was against forceful land grabbing by the British. Okay, so British grabbed the land of the Munda tribes, and the tribal people were bonded laborers, and they were pushed into poverty. Okay, so Birsa Munda spoke about the importance of owning and asserting rights over tribal land. Okay, and in 1894 he declared a revolt called Ulgulan against the British and the outsiders. What do you mean by Ulgulan? Ulgulan meant the great tumult. Okay, so this Birsa Munda created a faith called Birsait. Okay, and he stressed the need for tribals to study their own religion and preserve their cultural roots. In fact, he was a great hero. He died only at the age of 25 in 1900. At such an young age, he was able to inspire his people and bring them behind his back. Okay, and it was because of his struggle that the Chota Nagpur Tenancy Act was passed in 1908, which protected tribal land from being transferred to non-tribals. Okay, and another important fact about Birsa Munda is that this person holds great significance for the state of Jharkhand, because Jharkhand state was created in 2000, the year 2000, on Birsa Munda's birth anniversary. Okay, and moreover, in 2021, the central government announced November 15th, that is Birsa Munda's birthday, as the Janjatiya Gaurav Divas. Remember it, Janjatiya Gaurav Divas is observed on every 15th November in honor of Birsa Munda's contribution to the freedom struggle. Okay, so that's about Birsa Munda. The next person we're going to look at is Alluri Sitarama Raju. Again, a character on whom a film had been made. Even recently in Triple R, Ram Charan had portrayed his character. Okay, so Alluri Sitarama Raju was a prominent Indian freedom fighter and a tribal leader. Fine. So he is remembered till today for being the leader of the Rampa Rebellion. Okay, Rampa Rebellion or the Manyam Rebellion, however you choose to call it. Okay, and it was in that rebellion where he led the people in protest against the colonial government's policy that threatened tribal communities and their way of life. So this rebellion that was led by Alluri Sitarama Raju lasted from August 1922 to May 1924. Okay, so Sitarama Raju mobilized and united various tribal communities against the British authorities and encouraged them to resist colonial oppression. So today we remember him for being a master practitioner of the guerrilla warfare tactics. Okay, so he utilized the natural terrain of the Eastern Ghats to his advantage, and he also emphasized the preservation of tribal traditions, culture and customs, and he also promoted a sense of identity and unity among the tribes. Okay, so this particular person, Alluri Sitarama Raju, became a symbol of resistance against the British Raj and inspired many Indians, including tribal communities, to join the fight for independence. Another important personality that you will have to keep in mind in your preparations. Okay, and now next up we are going to look at Rani Kamlapati. Rani Kamlapati is another important character. Okay, so if you see the Rajgons, by the ruling class among the Gond people. You all know that there is a tribe called Gond. Okay, so among them the Raj Gonds were the ruling class. In fact, Gondwana is named after the Gondi people, who were the dominant tribal community in Gondwana. Okay, so if you see, the upper lake area of Bhopal was mainly populated by the Bhil and Gond tribals in the beginning of the 18th century, that is in the 1710s. Okay, so Nizam Shah, a strong local Gond warlord, ruled his territory from the Ginnor fort. Okay, so Rani Kamlapati, known for her beauty and talents, was one of the wives of Nizam Shah. Okay, so Gonds were basically ruling over the region around present day Bhopal. So Nizam Shah was a powerful Gond warlord, and then his wife was Rani Kamlapati, who was known for her beauty and talents. Okay, so this Nizam Shah was poisoned to death by his nephew Alam Shah. Okay, this Alam Shah killed Nizam Shah to marry Rani Kamlapati. So what happens is Kamlapati offers Dost Muhammad Khan a sum of money to protect her honor and avenge her husband's death. Okay, so this Muhammad Khan led a joint army of Afghans and Gond soldiers to defeat and kill Alam Shah. In return, Kamlapati's kingdom was annexed to Muhammad Khan's territory. Okay, so Rani Kamlapati committed suicide near her palace in 1723. Okay, so this Muhammad Khan initially feigned allegiance to Rani's son Nawab Shah, but he betrayed and killed Nawab Shah and took control of Ginnor fort and other territories. Okay, so till today we remember this particular Rani Kamlapati for being an epitome of beauty and for being associated with the Gond community. Finally, the Gonds were captured by the Marathas in the 18th century. Okay, so that's about the Gonds. Fine. Next up, we have a series of tribal freedom fighters. We already saw Alluri Sitarama Raju. Okay, we already saw Alluri Sitarama Raju. The next person is Rani Gaidenliu. Okay, so she was associated with the Heraka movement, which happened in the year 1930. So through this movement, she aimed to end British rule and establish self-rule of the Nagas. And then another important leaders you're supposed to know is Sidhu and Kanu Murmu. Okay, Sidhu and Kanu Murmu. So they were associated with the Santal rebellion, which happened in 1855-56, and they fought against zamindars, moneylenders, and the Britishers. Apart from that, there are others like Tilak Manji. Tilak Manji led the Manji revolt in the year 1785, and he organized Adivasis into an army to defend their people and land. Okay, and then you have Buddhu Bhagat. Okay, Buddhu Bhagat. Who's this Buddhu Bhagat? Buddhu Bhagat was associated with the Larka rebellion, which happened in 1832. And then you have the Tirot Singh. Who's this Tirot Singh? Tirot Singh basically was associated with the Kasi rebellion, happened in 1833. So he fought against British attempt to take over control of the Kasi hills. And then you have Telanga Karya, another important tribal leader, Telanga Karya. So he was involved with the Telanga Karya revolt, 1850 to 1880, 30 years it happened. So he encouraged tribals to fight against British atrocities and injustices in the Chota Nagpur region. And then you have Nilambar and Pitambar, another set of tribal freedom fighters. So they led the revolt against the East India Company. They fought at Palamu against British control. And then you have people like Surendra Sai, Veer Surendra Sai. So they were involved in the rebellion of Sambalpur in 1857. They helped tribal people fight against the British by encouraging their language and cultural development. Okay, so there are other important personalities as well about whom you can basically get to know. But the most important personalities given in this slide include Alluri Sitarama Raju, Rani Gaidenliu, and Sidhu and Kanu Murmu. Okay, we have already seen about Sitarama Raju. So we are now going to look at Rani Gaidenliu. Okay, so Rani Gaidenliu basically was a Naga spiritual and political leader who played a crucial role in the Heraka movement. Okay, so this movement basically aimed to end the British rule and establish self-rule for the Naga people. Okay, so Rani Gaidenliu at a very young age, she went on to become a charismatic figure, and she even mobilized the Nagas to resist the British oppression. Okay, she promoted Naga cultural and religious practices, and she went on to stress the importance of preserving Naga identity. Okay, she was an inspiration for many Nagas to fight for their independence. Despite being arrested and imprisoned for 10 years by the British, she continued to be a symbol of resistance and resilience for the Naga people. Okay, now talking about Sidhu and Kanu Murmu, so the Santals, okay, were the tribe which they led. Okay, so the Santals basically were an indigenous tribe in present day Jharkhand. They faced exploitation and displacement by the British colonial forces. So the rebellion was a response to the exploitative land revenue system and forced labor. Okay, so Sidhu and Kanu Murmu mobilized the Santal community, uniting them to fight for their rights and land ownership. Okay, so the rebellion even involved armed resistance. Even the women took part in the rebellion. Okay, so despite facing a superior enemy, the Santals displayed great courage and resilience in their struggle for freedom. So that's something that you can look into. Okay, so these are the important tribal leaders that you will concentrate on from this slide. In the next slide, you have a few more tribal leaders. So you can basically go through this particular Optima card that you see on the screen, and you can get to know the important facts about each of these leaders. Okay, I've discussed three important leaders with you with regards to the tribal freedom fighters. One is Alluri, Sitarama, Raju, Birsa Munda already I've discussed, and then I've discussed Rani Kamlapati and Sidhu and Kanu Murmu. Okay, 9 out of 10 times you expect questions about these four individuals. Okay, so others you can basically go through, okay, for your own convenience. Okay, so with that said, we have come to the end of our discussion part. Okay, we have come to the end of our discussion part. So for aspirants taking up the prelims 2024, we have covered most of these topics in our Lakshya 2024 program. You can go through them by following the link in the description. And also for placing your hands on the Optima cards, which will be of great help for you, you can basically follow the link in the description, and you can also ping the number that you find in the bottom of the each card. Okay, and you all know pretty well that we run a current affairs session in the weekend, so you can basically join that. And for more such videos, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support would be of great help, and that would also mean you receiving more help and more videos. Okay, thank you so much for patiently listening. Have a wonderful time. Thanks a lot.